GOP debate wrapped up. 4 candidates duked it out for 2 hours in hopes of trying to cut into former President Donald Trump's lead.
It was a spirited event. Wink News anchor Chris Safadi is in Tuscaloosa with the latest on how it all played out. Chris.
Well, one of the things that we were looking at going into this, Russ and Amanda, is were they going to spend all this time taking on each other, or were they going to go after Donald Trump or all? And Chris Christie did go after Donald Trump a little bit directly, but they actually went after each other over Donald Trump. One of the first things I want you to hear is an exchange between Governor DeSantis and Chris Christie.
You seem to be saying Donald Trump is no longer mentally fit to be president. Is that what you think?
Look, he is showing, Father Time is undefeated. The idea that we're going to put someone up there that's almost 80 and there's going to be no effects from that, we all know that that's not true. I will go in and wreak havoc on this bureaucracy. You will see people fired, and we are going to bring a reckoning for how this government handled COVID-19.
The question was very direct. Is he fit to be president or isn't he? The rest of the speech is interesting, but completely non-responsive.
You have your thing.
Is he fit or isn't he? No, I don't have my thing.
We don't.
He's the thing. Is he fit or isn't he?
Do
You're talking about him being 80 years old.
It doesn't mean that somebody couldn't get elected. That's up to the people that
DeSantis, let him finish.
Ron, is he
I think we have an opportunity to do somebody who is in the prime of their life.
And that was just one of the exchanges. You know, just watching this debate, if you watch for the whole couple of hours, what I noticed was that Governor DeSantis got more and more heated in some of his exchanges in the second half of this debate. Another big issue among the Republican candidates is transgender and the use of bathrooms. Governor DeSantis getting into it this time with Nikki Haley. Listen to this.
The idea that you would say that I was against
that. You didn't. You killed it. I signed it. I stood up for little girls. You didn't do it. And there was this going on. I was actually just in South Carolina. Some of the legislators told me at the time there were boys going into the girls. That's the whole reason why they did it.
No.
And so they say when she does that explanation that doesn't hold water. And this is the upstate of South Carolina.
Ron,
I signed the bill. I protected the girls.
South Carolinians?
She did not do it.
Do you know South Carolinians? Because South Carolinians... No. You are not going to talk about my state like that, because I will tell you for a fact, South Carolinians never allowed that to happen, and we did not have that issue at the time.
Another solid point the governor making tonight when asked about government spending and the deficit. He blamed it squarely on both parties, a position he's taken before, but he was very forceful about that tonight. We have team coverage for you. Wink News reporter Claire Galt is live inside the media center, right inside the debate hall, as the debate just wrapped up. Claire.
Controversial, but right. Whether it was higher ed and their efforts at so-called diversity and equity and inclusion. I prefer diversity, inclusion, and equity. It's a better acronym, DIE. And then the ESG, which carries it fully into the corporate realm. He did all of those things, all controversial, and then turned and sold it to the biggest swing state electorate in the country and won with a near 20-point margin, winning women while being a pro-life governor, winning independents, and winning Hispanics.
Despite how the governor did tonight, do you think that the odds are still long for him?
I don't think they're long. I think that votes are important. And our door knocking, we, as you all know, have been following what we've been doing at Never Back Down. We've knocked on over 2.7 million doors so far. Our national door knocking still has over 50% undecided voters on their first choice. And our data shows that people who have a first choice of a candidate, whoever that candidate is, over 50% of them, 55%, are still willing to move to another candidate. So the ground game matters, and we know who's undecided because we've been talking to them. And as we close out in Iowa and then New Hampshire and then Nevada and then South Carolina, that advantage is going to come to bear along with the governor's work ethic, which we saw last weekend in Iowa with the 99th county hit, the full Grassley, the only candidate to do it, and he's bringing that work ethic across the country.
Do you think that the governor moved the needle on Trump tonight, and do you think that he separated himself from Nikki Haley?
I think that he separated himself from Nikki Haley and moved the needle on Donald Trump, particularly on talk about the debt and his willingness to go farther than Donald Trump was ever willing to do. Remember, I was Donald Trump's deputy secretary at DHS. I don't dislike Donald Trump, but he left so much on the table that should have been done. Donald Trump refused to use the military to stop the invasion of this country. I begged him to do it. He refused. Ron DeSantis has committed on day one to doing exactly that. That's perfectly reasonable to do, and it'll stop the inflow immediately of illegals. There are so many other differences, and so yes, I do think he moved.
Thank you so much.
It will.
You just heard that was a DeSantis campaign spokesperson. Clearly, they believe that the governor won the debate tonight, but Iowa really is the ball game for them. And again, the Iowa caucuses are on January 15th. I'm going to keep talking to people, and I'll join you guys back at 11. Amanda, Russ.
I have 40 days until the Iowa caucuses. We'll see how it plays out. Our governor, Ron DeSantis, has certainly put in a lot of work, but Donald Trump has a huge lead in the polls, so we'll see. Yep.